A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a powerful display of solidarity, thousands of demonstrators are taking to the streets across Australia today as part of the nationwide March for Palestine. With at least 7,000 expected to gather in Brisbane alone, the protests are a response to the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza, where rising starvation and worsening famine have been reported. Organized by the Palestine Action Group, the rallies come on the heels of a massive demonstration in Sydney that drew nearly 100,000 participants and effectively shut down the iconic Harbour Bridge. Today's events are not just limited to major cities. Protests are unfolding in over 40 locations nationwide, including Melbourne, Canberra, Adelaide, Perth, and even regional areas like Geelong and Warrnambool. In Brisbane, demonstrators are set to march from Queen's Gardens to Musgrave Park after a magistrate ruled against their original plan to cross the Story Bridge, citing safety concerns. The Queensland Police Service had sought the court's intervention to prevent the march over fears of crowd safety and bridge integrity. This decision has not dampened the spirits of the protesters, who are determined to voice their demands for peace and justice. Greens leader and Queensland Senator Larissa Waters addressed the media at Queen's Park, stating, "There are so many people here calling for peace, calling for sanctions on Israel just like we have on Russia, and calling for an end to the two-way arms trade. Australians are horrified that we are selling weapons components to the Israeli government. It's got to stop." Waters expressed optimism that the significant turnout today would compel the federal government to reconsider its stance on Israel. In Melbourne, the rally commenced outside the State Library, with crowds holding Palestinian flags and placards emblazoned with messages such as "Free Palestine" and "Israel is killing children." Activist My Safe addressed the crowd, highlighting the growing support for the Palestinian cause across Australia. "Let our message be clear. We believe in equality, we believe in human rights, in humanity, in love, in hope, in resistance. This is our land, our home, our ancestors, our heritage. We will never leave," she proclaimed, igniting cheers from the crowd. Independent Senator David Pocock was among the speakers at the Canberra rally, where he urged the government to take more decisive action. "As a middle power, we can and must be doing more. This is something that I've heard from Canberrans on more than any other issue in the last 3 years. People care. People care deeply, and they want a government that's actually going to listen and then act," he stated. Pocock called for stronger sanctions against the Israeli government, questioning what threshold the federal government has for such measures. The protests are also a response to alarming reports from the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification System, which indicated that nearly a quarter of Palestinians in Gaza are experiencing famine. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres described the situation as a man-made disaster and a failure of humanity itself. The warning comes as Australia has joined a global condemnation of Israel's controversial settlement plans in the West Bank, further fueling the urgency of the protests. In Geelong, the march began at Corio Rowing Club, where protesters gathered to march from the river to the sea. The regional rally featured a diverse lineup of speakers, including Torres Strait Island woman Julie Saylor-Briggs and Lebanese-Iraqi activist Noor al-Asafi, who spoke passionately about the need for justice and liberation for the Palestinian people. The nationwide demonstrations reflect a growing discontent with Australia's foreign policy regarding Israel and the ongoing violence in Gaza. Activists are calling for an end to arms sales to Israel and a more proactive approach to humanitarian aid for Palestinians. As the day unfolds, updates from various cities will continue to highlight the voices of those advocating for peace and justice in the Middle East. This is a critical moment for many Australians who feel that their government must take a stand against the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. With protests spanning the country, it is clear that the call for justice and equality for the Palestinian people resonates deeply within the hearts of many citizens. The momentum from today's events could potentially lead to significant shifts in public policy and government action in the coming weeks. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.